Karen,
Yes.
besides me, have you ever met anyone else who's basically a superhero in a quantum field? I'm not sure why you're laughing.
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Besides you.
Besides me, right. Okay, well, today's guest actually has got so many more titles than I can even count. See, she's a nurse practitioner, a spiritual leader, an author, a speaker, breathwork facilitator, and a literal quantum alchemist.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like a love child of a scientist and a wizard, doesn't it?
Kinda.
Well, she helps people transmute trauma, addictions, and all the baggage that we carry at the quantum level. It's like therapy meets a sci-fi movie, but better.
I like that.
Now, if only it involved time travel,
And portals.
Well, it might actually. Now, time travel, I'm not sure about. If it did, I could actually have that conversation with my 16-year-old me who could really use a pep talk. But unfortunately,
Or now.
oh God, you are on fire today. Unfortunately, I don't think it involves time travel, but she does access the subconscious mind and the quantum field, and she gives tools for people to do it themselves.
That sounds great.
Oh, did I mention she's had a near-death experience?
No.
And worked with plant medicines?
Nope.
Yep, she's basically lived like 3 lifetimes. Get ready, folks. This episode is going to blow your mind and maybe even your quantum field.
Ooh.
My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And today we are thrilled to welcome Rosalia Quintana. And I hope I said that right because I practiced it like 12 times. But she's a true trailblazer in the world of healing and transformation. Rosalia is revolutionizing the way we think about trauma and personal growth. Through her groundbreaking zebra healing, alchemy, and transformation method, she helps people transmute trauma, addictions, and perceived limitations at the quantum level, tapping into the subconscious mind and the quantum field. Now, her incredible journey, which does not start with that made
Oops.
heck of a noise.
That was a good spot, though, if it's going to fall.
Yes. Well, let's try this again. Her incredible journey, which includes a near-death experience and deep work with plant medicines, has shaped her mission to empower others with tools for self-transformation. She's a frequent feature in Mystic Mag and Shout Out Miami and is the host of Quantum Alchemist Master Podcast. Rosalia is here to share her profound insights and passion for guiding us toward our highest potential. Get ready for a transformative conversation with the amazing Rosalia Quintana. Rosalia, thank you so much for being on the show today.
So much, Will. Thank you, Karen. It's a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is ours. Wow. Okay.
Where
So
to
many,
start?
yes, so many different ways. Right. You've got this alphabet soup of things that you've done and things that we can talk about. I really want to talk about quantum alchemy and all that kind of stuff, but I think we kind of need to set that table a little bit because I don't know how much of this would have come around if it wasn't for your near-death experience and your plant medicine work. Is that true to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, then let's touch on your near-death experience first and foremost, because I think that's going to be really fascinating for a lot of folks. So I've listened to your story before, and I know what it's about. So I'd love for you to share that with us, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. So my near death definitely shifted the way I view life, the way I interact with everything, and it's still integrating. I believe there's so much kind of like the little lifting of the veil lets me know that I don't know anything, and I'm still trying from this little perception, trying to understand a lot of the concepts or a lot of that experience. And there's just so much to unfold, like an infinite onion almost. And I say, I can't, and this limited perception is very difficult, I guess, to comprehend a lot of what happened there for me. But pretty much I first started seeing myself outside my body, and I was extremely confused. I had no idea what was happening to me, why I was outside my body. I was camping. I was in this campground, and I was just I thought I was dreaming originally. I didn't think anything was wrong or anything was happening. And there was a point there where I said to myself, I had a thought because I went like I tried to touch my body and I couldn't. That's where I really got freaked out.
But wait, let's back it up. So
Sure,
you were camping,
I was.
and what happened that started
I went
that made
I
you?
went to I went to sleep and the only
Hmm,
thing I could feel was extreme hot and coldness. But I guess the coldest I've ever been and the hottest I've ever been.
at
Those
the
were the
same time?
only no, alternating.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the only two bodily sensations I can tell you that I remember. After that, I saw myself outside my body, looking outside the space. I wasn't sure what was going on. And then I remember trying to touch my flesh, my body, to like, I don't know, something. And I couldn't feel my body. So that really, really freaked me out. I guess I was just
I
like I
bet.
lost my
Yeah,
mind.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. And then I had a thought and I thought, "Oh my god, did I die?" And then that just like pulled me into this, I guess you would call it kind of like a vacuum or something that I couldn't escape. It just automatically pulled me into this. I call it the void, but I don't know what I could call it. It's kind of like a darkness space where I'm just floating kind of there by myself. But it didn't feel loving or anything like that to me. I felt very unsettling. Like, what is this place? Where am I? What's happening? Where's my wife? Where are my kids? Where's my mom? Like, just all of these thoughts. Like, I don't know. I just couldn't get an understanding of it. And then my fears kind of started come up, like a lot of guilt or shame for things I had done, or that started kind of like replaying, almost like a movie, and like almost like I couldn't let go of things I wanted to have done differently, or I don't know, just kind of like guilt, I guess is the best way to I could associate it with that.
Hmm.
Um and I kind of was going in and out of like these loops of replaying these things. And I just felt very alone and very scared, like I did, extremely, extremely scared. I and I had a thought. I thought like, yeah, I thought I was a good person. Like, why am I here? Like, where is heaven? Where is God? What, I don't know, something, right? And throughout all of that, I had a lot of like, I guess, anger also come up. Like, if God is real, where is God? Why isn't he here helping? Like, all of these questions. Um, and there's a point where I got super, super tired of fighting nothing, of what appeared to be not, like, I just couldn't escape this place. Um, and I started praying. I just started praying. There's, I didn't know what else to do. I was raised Catholic. So a lot of the prayers were kind of like in that, with that.
Mhm.
Um, and I felt like I was crying out for help for a long time. I couldn't perceive time or space or anything that I could describe that could tell me anything about the time I was in, which state, or how long that lasted. And at some point, I felt myself inside a sphere. I don't know where it is, like, if it's somewhere in space or if it's inside the earth or somewhere kind of like a sacred geometry, almost like similar to the flower of life, but I wouldn't really know if it was that, um, inside that sphere. And a form of God, I like to say, came forward. Um, I think for everybody is different. And for me, it had the form of a man, somewhere in his 60s with a white short beard. And it was not necessarily his form, but it was just a knowing that it was him. Kind of like, I don't know. It's very difficult to explain with words. It's like you just know. I think it could come in any form and you would just know that it is something, I guess, higher. I don't know, like a higher consciousness or a higher something, that would be able to come forward. And I started cursing at God. Unfortunately, I wish I could have done that differently, but
Wait. You were cursing at God?
yeah, yeah,
And
That-
yeah,
I
so,
want to hear what happened next. How
yeah,
did God respond?
right.
yeah. Well, I was very mad at everything, like why did why all the suffering? Why am I not alive? Or why what I have so many things to do. Why are you taking me, my kids, my just like all of this rage, like and also the world, what, like, if you exist, why the suffering, why the kids, the poor,
Mhm.
I just, that was my first reaction, just to go all out in Spanish,
Mhm.
just full profanities, and I was extremely upset.
Wow.
I got absolutely no response whatsoever, no reaction, nothing, no judging, nothing. It was just like pure peace state, this just non-reactive state. And at some point, I don't know exactly what happened, but I felt the sensation that God placed his hand on my shoulder. And at that one moment, I had all these questions, all these, according to me, all these existential questions, and uh, the meaning of life, why am I here, blah blah blah, all these things, like what is this? The moment that he placed his hand on my shoulder, that's it. It was just literally like everything, just this oneness, like everything just made sense, this infinite love, this, it is really undescribable. If I could try to describe it, it was just the biggest love I've ever felt. Like, it just engulfed this oneness, this love. I don't know, I don't have the words for that.
Yeah.
But that really just, I don't know, I just couldn't keep going with the profanities anymore. It just shifted completely to
Mhm.
love. I had no reaction whatsoever to do anything else in regards to that.
So it gave you an understanding of how everything fit, right? How the
Yeah,
reasons for the poverty, the reasons for all the everything, suddenly you had the answers to them?
Or did you
suddenly
not care? Or like, did it not
I you know
matter
I
anymore?
so I don't, that's a great question, because there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I couldn't bring back. I almost felt like, okay, you experienced something, but here's what you're going to remember, and this is what you need to know right now, like, to remember. I feel like at that moment, I don't know if it was acceptance, or if it was understanding, or if it was love, or if it was compassion for what is. I don't know what the answer to that would be, but it just literally felt like complete love and bliss, and like everything was all right, which obviously, we have so many world problems right now.
Yeah.
So it is completely incomprehensible, I guess, for my micro consciousness to even
Mhm.
sit with that, right? Like, how is that even possible?
Sure.
But at least at that precise moment, it felt like just bliss, nothing
Wow.
else,
Wow.
just love for those whatever, however long that lasted.
Okay. So I please forgive the question because I've got
No,
to
please
bring in
ask.
the skeptical side of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
when we go camping, sorry,
Yeah,
when friends of ours go camping, we've heard that
yeah.
sometimes there's some extracurricular activities that happen. Some,
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
use plant medicine, or they
Mhm.
smoke pot, or they do
Yeah.
something, drink something that changes their perception.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you do some of these things, it kind of brings you that bliss or that euphoria where
Mhm.
everything is cool, man, that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Ecstasy, whatever it is that you take.
Yeah.
Was there anything like that involved in your experience?
So I've worked with plant medicines for a long time, since 2018. And just the qualities of, and I've also reached out after the near death to a lot of people to kind of comprehend, like, what happened. Is this, like, I don't know, there's a lot of people that have different experiences, right? With different things. And just a lot of the stuff that happened, I've never experienced it on plant medicine. And a lot of the people I've sat and try to understand this better, also has not happened with plant medicine, but more with the near death experiences. um, which at that time I was really not familiar. I mean, I wasn't really looking like, well, how does that work when you die and stuff like that. Um, so my personal experience with plant medicines has been definitely, I do feel that kind of like that oneness and more love, but it didn't involve a lot of the things that my near death happened. Like, I feel at one with nature when I work with plant medicine, a lot of connection, especially like with the mountains, with some animals. I've been eaten kind of like by this humongous anacondas or stuff like that, like just different things, but never evolved. Kind of like seeing past lives, seeing stuff I picked before incarnating, seeing a life review, seeing like a bunch of stuff that certainly not meeting with God, at least not in that way. I mean, to me, God is everything, but at least not in that form or in that
Mhm.
way. Um, yeah, and I've had to sit down to speak with people about that as well that have more experience than I do. Um, and I just feel like a lot of the characteristics are of a psychedelic trip are different than that experience. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So were you camping with a group or with other people?
No, just with my wife. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
So what
her birthday weekend, and she loves California, so we went up there. And
oh,
she has
nice.
family there. Yeah.
Mm.
So now I was just wondering, like, what her take was. She freaking out because how long, like in our linear time, how long was this whole
I
Experience.
have
experience?
I have no clue how long that was. All I know is I woke up in the morning and all of this had happened, and I was freaking out. I was
Wow.
Mm.
like yeah.
Now, did you ever find out what triggered the experience? Like what triggered your death?
Um, you know, the only thing I personally was dealing with health wise was high levels of the pituitary and high iron levels, which I'm a nurse practitioner. And from that perspective, I really don't see anything that would have, I guess, medically caused it, um, you know, triggered it. I really don't have an explanation for that. Whatever it was, I'll tell you that it saved my life.
How so?
My view on life completely shifted on myself, on others, a lot more love, a lot more compassion, um, a lot of, I guess, the remembrance that we're more than just a body.
Mm.
Um, from what I experienced, kind of this eternal soul connected to source, to all that is. Just and that really has helped me a lot. To be more at peace with the challenges, especially that come up in the journey.
Right. Right.
Wow.
So, th- um, was that the extent of your experience after he touched you on the shoulder and you connected? Right. You checked. You plugged in. Was that the rest of the experience? Was just being in that state?
No, I also was able to see kind of in front of me what seemed to be kind of different lives, which is really difficult to describe. Um, and I just knew it was myself. And the experience or the lesson I had learned in lifetime, but kind of like at an exponential level and also like at light speed. It was so quickly, like I don't know, just kind of flashing before your very eyes.
Mm.
Um, and I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, I've been through a lot. There's, just a lot of compassion. We do the best we can with what we know, with what we have. I just felt like, and it helped me a lot to my relationship with my dad. Like, there's a lot of stuff maybe that before I couldn't understand why he was the way he was or why he did certain things. I'm just like, it's yeah.
So then you woke up and you finish your camping trip and you come home, and you're saying how this changed your perspective with dealing with other people, but how have you been using this experience to help other people?
Well, it has changed and shifted a lot. So I was already doing a lot of breath work
Hmm.
since 2018. And through breath work and meditation, I think those were kind of the closest I felt to just being able to be more at peace, more relaxed, to get maybe insight or direction from inside of me. You know,
Hmm.
or from my connection to source, to my guides, or something like that. So when I came back, there was a time period for integration,
Hmm.
just like months of integration, just to, I don't know, for me to even speak about it with anyone other than, just my teachers that I've reached out to, um, and to start sharing it with other people. Um, but breathwork was initially how I started, helping others, doing breathwork events here in the community in Miami. I just felt like it was a beautiful way to help people connect with themselves, or different aspects of themselves. And from there, it kind of evolved. I wrote a book, a multi-author book, which was nice. Um, and I started kind of to see the different synchronicities, how, you know, kind of like how when you take the step, the bridge appears, type of thing, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
when you open up a little bit. And things have just come in that way. The zebra method, for example, came in a dream. Um, so it's like, okay, you're gonna do the zebra method. And I try to like hurry up and try to, write down what they were telling, what was downloaded before I forget it, and how you want me to do it, and all these things. I'm like, oh, wait, like, um, and I first tried it out, with close family, friends, and stuff like that. And I saw their breakthrough. I'm like, ah, so beautiful, because the only thing we're doing is reminding you of what you already know. It's connecting with your soul.
Hmm.
Um, and go ahead.
Before we go down that rabbit hole, the zebra method, because we don't really know what that is, and we'd love for you to explain to us how that works. But this is all part of your quantum alchemist process, right? Can you explain to us what exactly you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, Quantum Alchemist Master was a name that was given to me by my guides. And the idea of that is to inspire other people to become their own quantum alchemist masters,
Mm,
by just going within and looking for those answers, for yourself. And the only thing I do pretty much is just share how my journey has been and how I've been able to do it. Um, and I work a lot with the Akashic Records. I teach others how to open their records, not for other people, but just for themselves.
sure.
How to work with that, and how to just go within, for anything. It has been such a beautiful journey for me, from going outside, seeking outside, then to go within. It has shifted everything for me.
Mm.
Um,
And that's what you're trying to do inside other people, is find that shift in them.
Yeah, I feel like, for me, the whatever your vision is, um it's going to look different. I don't think there's like a cookie cutter formula for anything, for manifestation, or for your dream, or anything like that. And I'll use myself as an example. For me, I thought I've always very been like a high achiever, and just like do, and just a different operating from more of a masculine perspective. Which, yeah, it worked for a while, but there's a point in my life where it just doesn't fit right anymore. That's not how I want to do things. And being able to birth creation, um, from my intuition, is something that brings me joy. It doesn't feel forceful. The people that come to me, my clients are recommended by other clients. It
Hmm.
feels like almost like synchronistic. It doesn't feel like I have to push to do this, or I have to. I call it kind of like food for my soul, and I get to learn from your wisdom. So I'm just there for support, so you don't get, because it's something. For some people, it may be something new, or they're not used to it, or they're just, starting their journey, or they're not avid meditators, or whatever it may be, right? Like, just for support, and kind of guiding you through, and teaching you about the Akashic records as well, because to me goes well with the work that we're doing and just different things that may come up. Um, and I learn from your soul. So to me, it's an honor to hear how you're going to solve the issue that you're working on, because you're going to tell me how to do that. I
Really?
well,
You sure about that? Because I got a
well,
long way to go.
well, we're going to try. Whatever comes
Yeah.
forward for you is exactly what you needed at that time. So, what I like is that I'm not telling anybody how to live your life, what you need to do, how to do it, all that
Mhm.
stuff. You're going within and you're retrieving whatever needs to come up for you, and however you need to deal with what you're going through.
Gotcha. So
So,
it's really a soul alchemy, is shifting and changing coal to gold, right? So basically, what we are all looking for, which is change our existence in 3D and alchemize it into an existence in the 5D, where we're more connected and feel more at one with everything. Yeah.
yeah, to me, you know, it's easy and complicated at the same time. To me, is really just coming back to the heart where we've always been. The, it's just kind of like, oh, I forgot for a little bit that I should be in my heart. Let me just come back to that.
Gotcha.
It
Mhm.
feels better. I don't know. It just sits right. It's kind of like a knowing
Mhm.
that that's the way you should follow.
Got it. So then the zebra method, what does that entail?
Yes.
So the zebra method, pretty much, we just sit down, we go and we open your Akashic records, and we go into kind of like a deep guided meditation.
Mhm.
And from there, you can kind of, it varies per person depending on how long you've been working with energy, what an avid meditator you are. It takes different routes. Um, so but you pretty much are the guide itself. Your soul, your higher self, your guides, whatever it does come forward for you. And what I like is that it's whatever you believe in. I'm not telling you, oh, speak with so and so or down, none of that stuff. It kind of unfolds depending on what your channel is. And it's just really beautiful. It's organic. There's no scripture, like, there's no actual protocol in regards to like, this is how we're gonna do it, and it's a one to one. It unfolds on its own during this session.
So why zebra
I
method?
was just going to ask that.
Why the name zebra?
Yeah. Well, first of all, my guides told me that name, so I'm not. I'm not gonna go and change that. What I did try to do with the name, because I was like, well, what does the name mean, and stuff like that, and kind of like brainstorm around that. So what reminded me a lot was going back to 0 point, kind of like back to your core essence, to
Mm,
your true self, to your connection to source. So to me, it has a lot to do with that, going back to that 0 point essence,
mm,
kind of just taking out all these baggages and layers and stuff,
gotcha.
and trying to listen a little more.
And so is what makes it different than other methods, is it the fact that the person is kind of leading themselves through it?
You know, I would say that would be a good way to put it, in the sense that they're not completely alone, because I'm there and I have a lot of
Mhm.
tools to guide them depending on what comes up. And we do a lot of, um, I guess you would call it trauma transformation. And we follow up with audios and exercises and things they can work depending on what came up for them. So there's like a lot of, if you would say, integration or post support when it comes to what came up in the actual session. But yeah, there is that sense of empowerment of coming back home to yourself, to your way, to your own innate wisdom, but in a place where it feels safe to explore, right? Like
Mm.
you have the gas pedal and also the brake. So it's, we touch on what you feel comfortable touching on, and from there we guide it. It's really a very personalized approach. But yes, the person is really takes the center stage and takes their power to do self exploration.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
And so these methods and things like that, they come to you. You mentioned that your spirit guides were the ones who told you it's called the zebra method.
Mhm.
Does that come to you through your own inner working, through your own meditations? How do you connect with your guides?
Yeah, sometimes it's through meditation, sometimes it's through dreams, sometimes it's through journaling. Sometimes it's walking in nature. A lot of the times it's painting. So
Oh,
it'll vary. Yeah.
Mm, cool.
that's awesome.
So then, how can someone um, work on themselves? You mentioned that your goal is to get these tools into the hands of others. So, what's the best way for someone to start down that road?
Um, the best way would be to start asking questions. Um, I think that would be that's how I started. At least I can only speak from what I've tried.
Hmm.
I started asking a lot of the questions like, is there more to life? There's got to be more than just like than this reality. Why are we here? Where is God? Um, and just all of these questions, right? Like, do they, in general, like this, you know, does the government and everyone have, our best interest at heart? Like, you know, just reconnecting with, I don't know, I guess with that part of you that's a seeker in you.
Mm,
Hmm.
um and just start asking questions. That's a good, i- on everything, on relationship, on your work, on life in general. Like for me, I was longing to tap more into something that made me feel purpose or joy or some sort of something bigger than just material, I guess, if you would say, or just this
mm,
this yeah.
yep. Well, go ahead.
No.
Oh. Tell us about your podcast because I'm really curious. I'm an avid podcast listener, and I'm curious to hear what kind of content do you do on your show?
We pretty much interview people on their hero's journey, whatever that may be. That's, I guess, the short version of that. Um, and it's really beautiful and amazing. The testament that our own journey leaves, and how we're just kind of mirrors for each other and we just learn from each other's journey. Um, it's really beautiful. Whatever people or feel called to share about their hero's journey is welcome in that space.
Mm, okay. Now, is the zebra method or anything like this? Is it good for everyone, for anyone, or is there someone that maybe shouldn't go down this path?
Well, I think not everything is for everyone.
Sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely not. Um, I think you have to sit with what is right for you at that moment. Um, so if a book comes to you, if a recommendation comes to you, if a course comes to you, if something comes to you, sit with that, meditate with that. How does that feel? How does the energy feel? Do you feel comfortable? Or is your nervous system regulated? For example, like you probably don't want to go, and kind of go through working a traumatic event in your life or something if your nervous system is completely dysregulated and you're working on that, you're operating on that fight or flight
Hmm.
mode, and just different things. I feel it's kind of like we have to work from the ground up, right? Making sure that we create that safety, that readiness, that openness. And I feel just let the universe bring in what it needs to bring into your life. It doesn't have to be this method or any other method. It could be your own method. It could be journaling. It could be just sitting by yourself, silence, walking in nature. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything like that.
Hmm.
Just listen to yourself, to that little inner voice. And if you're not sure, just do what brings you joy. Like for me, a lot of it is painting and poetry. um, so that, maybe there's beautiful poems that come through you, and that brings messages and that lifts other people up, and yourself. So yeah, just try to
Yeah.
follow your joy.
Okay. Well, if someone wanted to reach out to you and I know you do a 30-second like discovery call with people if they want to find out if this is the right method for them and things like that. If someone wanted to reach out to you to do something like that or to learn more about the zebra method, what is the best way for someone to do that?
Yeah, they can just go on Instagram at Quantum Alchemist Master and they can find me there.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we're going to add a direct link to that in our show notes. So if you missed this, just go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to her episode page. You'll see the link directly in there, in the show notes there for you. So it's easy, just one link, click, and you're contacted. Rosalia, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. This has been
So interesting.
super eye-opening, and we look forward to hearing what the audience has to say. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a huge thank you to you. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. If you did and you feel called to give back, we invite you to visit our website at skepticmetaphysician.com, where you can donate to the show or subscribe as a member through our Buy Me a Coffee campaign. Your support will go a long way towards allowing Karen and I to bring you these wonderful conversations and teachings in more and more robust ways. Well, that's all for now, but we'll see you on the next episode of the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.